Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address delegates at the COGTA summit this morning, with a bleak picture being painted about the local government. The two-day summit aims to conclude with an action plan to enable well-running and fully functioning municipalities. Let's listen in. The president is already addressing.
In Gauteng and in Mpumalanga and in all those mbizos, issues of local government topped the agenda. Almost everyone who stood up to speak raised issues of local government, issues of service delivery, issues of governance, and issues of unemployment and economic development in their space. In August, the South African Human Rights Commission convened a conference on accountability, service delivery and human rights in the local government space. And most recently, SALGA convened this year's Council of Mayors, and I had an opportunity to get an invitation, hoping that I might also be appointed a mayor in some small little town, but I didn't get even an invitation to be a mayor. It's one of my dreams to be a mayor of some town, not a metro, just a small town. Maybe you can donate a small town for me to be a mayor at. What I said in all of these engagements is that we do not need more diagnosis. We don't need diagnosis on the state of local government, because we know what the challenges are, we know what the problems are, and we've gone through all those challenges and problems ad nauseum over a very long period. Reports from the Auditor General, who I believe was also here, and the National Treasury, and I believe the Minister of Finance was also here, and the State of Local Government reports point to the inefficiencies, they point to the maladministration, lack of financial controls, poor governance, and the like. It talks also about political contestation that leads to the paralysis that we find in local government. And it also talks about how at times there is perceived political interference in the running of the administration of local government. It is therefore appropriate that these and some of the critical challenges are being discussed at this summit. But I would like to believe that in discussing them, this summit is going to be looking at practical solutions, how we get and find solutions to all these problems that beset local government. I believe that you've divided yourselves into commissions, and that your commissions have been looking at or will be looking at issues of governance, administration and financial management, service delivery, climate change and disasters, and more importantly also local economic development, but also more importantly, how local government should be funded. Because in the main, one of the recurring problems that we often hear about is the lack of funding for local government, and that the formula for funding local government should be evaluated, even changed. I'm looking forward to hearing great wisdom from amongst you of how this latter issue, the formula, should once again be looked at. So I need some wisdom from you. I knew you would applaud, because that is where you as local government players, you want more money. I hope you raised it with the Minister of Finance yesterday. As the country grapples with poverty, unemployment and inequality, our triple challenge, it is vital that we attend to local economic development. And we do so in a more focused manner, in a more practical manner, in a manner that will help to lift the economic fortunes of the places where we come from. Where there is a growing dynamic economy, we then have the fiscal space to expand the provision of services that improve our people's lives. When there is more investment and business expansion, jobs are created, livelihoods are supported, and the benefits circulate in the local area. That is why accelerating economic growth, attracting investment, and creating jobs must be at the center of the efforts of all spheres of our government. 2 weeks ago, I was part of an investment oversight visit in KwaZulu-Natal. We attended the launches of 2 expansion projects by an automotive component manufacturer called Hesto Harnesses and a paper products company called Sapi. Both of these were fulfillments of commitments made at one of our South Africa investment conferences. These investments are supporting job creation. They are also supporting enterprise development as well as localization, making sure that the products that go into the final products they produce are sourced in the local area and that they promote local entrepreneurs in the surrounding area. And this will inject millions of rands into local economies. And in one case, they were able to quantify it and say so many small and medium enterprises are going to be part of our economic or financial ecosystem, and so many other companies are going to provide us with components locally produced that will go into the final product that we make. Over the past 2 months, I have attended similar such launches by Ford Motor Company, Isuzu, Anglo-American, Corobrick, Sandvik, Netflix, Consol Glass, and many other companies that had made commitments when we held our South Africa Investment Conference. These business expansion projects aren't happening opposite or at the union buildings. They are not also happening in Parliament. They are being built in our local towns, in our metros, where our people live and where they are needed most. And I think it's important that we should have it clear in our minds that investments that we mobilize finally take place at the local level. And it is therefore at the local level that all of you who are here are the real actors. You are the real enablers for those businesses that come and invest in our country. If we are to harness the momentum of economic recovery that these new investments signal, or these expansion investments signal, local government has to be strong, it has to be efficient, it has to be capable, and it also has to be well run. When these domestic investors, as well as multinationals, make their investment decisions on where to bring or to expand their investments, one of the first factors that they consider is whether there is an enabling environment in that locality. First, of course, they'll look at the country and say and ask themselves, is South Africa an attractive investment destination? Once they tick that box, they then look at a number of other considerations. And finally, the most important that they will descend to is whether the local area, the local municipality is an investable environment. Is there a conducive environment that has been created in that local municipality for them to come and plant their money, either to build a factory, to build a facility, and what have you. They look at whether they can receive the necessary approvals as well as permits on time, rather than wait forever and be told that come back, fill another form, the form is lost, and so forth and so forth. They look at the quality of the provision of water, electricity, sewage, and refuse removal. Their representatives will come to the town. They will come to the locality. They will come to the metro, and they will do an examination, firstly of the site, and thereafter they will meet the local people, having started off possibly by meeting officials in various national departments. But where it really matters most is whether at the local area they are going to find joy. They look at the quality of the roads and at the quality of the infrastructure they will need to transport their products to the market. They analyze whether the environment is safe and secure, whether they will be able to protect their investments. If they are not satisfied that their needs will be met, they will choose to go somewhere else to invest. And if, for instance, they are not met by a very welcoming horde of officials, of political leaders, they just make a quick judgment and then move on and go to another place. I remember a story of a company that wanted to invest. They went to a particular country to go and make an investment of $1 billion. And when they got there, they asked, what processes do we need to follow to make this $1 billion investment? Just right there and then, they were pushed from pillar to post. They said, no, go to this one, go to that office, go to that office. The process will take you 6 months for you to fill in the forms, and then you will come back, and so forth and so forth. That company, which I knew very well, that company then sent its officials to Brazil. They got to Brazil. When they got to Brazil, they were met by the governor of a province or a state in Brazil at the airport with a red carpet. And the governor said, welcome, what can we do to help you set up your business? And we can do a very quick process. We've got a one-stop shop where you can do all your applications, and within a month, we will have everything ready for you to invest. And that company decided that that's exactly where we want to be. They invested the $1 billion and added up with another $1 billion 3 years later when they built a big facility to finish their products. So it is the attitude. It is the way in which at the local level, and this company did not go to the top government level. at the local level where a conducive environment had been created for this company to make the final decision. Because in the end, the final decision will be made on the impressions that the officials of the company has sent once they see what the lay of the land is. In some cases, companies that are already operating in an area choose to leave. And we need to ask ourselves, why do they choose to leave? In the process, jobs are lost, businesses are forced to close, businesses that may be cooperating with this other business, suppliers lose their clients, and the local economy suffers. Now, this is not a fable. This is something that happened in our own country, where a company decided to leave because the local government was not able to provide the necessary environment for the company to continue operating. And I think in the course of that, some 1,000 or 2,000 jobs were lost in one of our provinces. And the company relocated to another province. And that led to more unemployment in that area. As we work to promote local economic development, we need to consider the role of the district development model, which I believe you have spoken about quite extensively. We need to ensure that this integrated, multidisciplinary approach to government planning and implementation must in the end translate into local economic development that changes lives at a household level. According to conventional wisdom, the whole process to move our people from the vicious trap of poverty as well as backwardness to becoming a prosperous type of economic situation has two paths, in my view. It is to get governance at the local level to be absolutely right and to get service delivery absolutely right. If we can get that right, then what follows will be an influx of investments and growth that will immediately follow. We need to ensure that the key players in the running of the municipality, and all of you who are here, all of you are key role players, the mayors, the speakers, the municipal managers, the chief whips, the impact chairs, and the chief financial officers, and all of the various key officials who are here. You have to play your important role collectively. Collectively play your role in ensuring that we promote local economic development. And it should not be a singular task for the mayor alone. It should be an integrated one. And in the end, we should not leave this task to consultants to devise our economic development plans. I've often heard that at local government level, it is the consultants who devise the LED and then present it to the mayor and who presents it to council. For me, that is completely devoid of identifying the key priorities by the key players. The local economic development plan must be devised by yourselves, knowing exactly what the lay of the land is and what needs to be achieved. Because in the end, it is yourselves who will need to implement the plan. Because you drive the process of development, of service delivery, of everything that happens in the municipality from start to finish. We have spoken about some of the key elements of an ideal municipality. including a vibrant economy that needs to be engendered, places where tourists may want to visit once the key players decide that we are going to make our local municipality an attractive place for people to come from all over to come and visit. How the local municipality will focus on skills development and create spaces for young people to be trained, to be skilled, and to develop. Such municipalities provide good access to health, to education, to recreational facilities. In such an ideal municipality, not only are residents able to lead lives of quality and dignity, they are magnets for investment. The task before us at this point is to translate the district development model one plans into reality. And I'd like to believe that we've spoken enough about the theory of the district development model. What now needs to happen is to practice it. And to practice it with, yes, whatever little resources we have, to excel in our capabilities of demonstrating that, yes, we can make the district development model come alive. We can work in an integrated manner, all of us who are key role players, and then interlink with those at provincial level, at national level, so that what you then have to put into practice at the local level then becomes a reality. A credible plan is only as good as its implementation. And even the best plan will not succeed if we do not fix the systemic problems that prevent local government from carrying out its functions. As I told the Salga Council of Mayors earlier this month, we have to embark on course correction to advance the principle of people-centered local government. The President of Salga always insists that we cannot and should not do things in the same old way and expect different results. We now need to have course correction, look much broader, and see what is it that we can change and bring to bear so that we can be able to change the course of local government. This means focused and committed leadership across all municipalities with stronger strategic relations, yes, with the key role players in our communities, civil society, the various other government agents, be it the police, be it education institutions, local business in the area, and all other social partners. It means improving the quality and efficiency of local government through better funding from your own resources, as well as better funding from the equitable share, whose formula, as you have said and advocated for, needs to be relooked. It also means better planning and better execution. It is about focusing on the key area of governance and also professionalizing municipal administration, stabilizing management, as well as political leadership. And it is at this level where we've had most of our challenges, where people in political leadership have often butted heads amongst themselves, where they start differing and even fighting like there is no tomorrow. Fighting that at times results in outright violence where people even die. And we therefore need to redefine
Generator, it will kick back just in a second.
It will kick in.
Yeah, just waiting a second to kick in. Okay. The lighting has already kicked in, but the mic takes a bit spec now. We can continue.
Okay, I was being given lessons on how to deal with load shedding. And I must say, I am sorry about that. This continues to be our biggest challenge, as you all know. And I think it affects you at local level because you distribute electricity, and when it does this, it gets your own customers to lose businesses, it disrupts the livelihoods of our people, and people lose confidence in us. But what I'm saying is that it also means, as we address all these issues, we must also focus on prioritizing fiscal sustainability, but also sound municipal financial governance and eliminating corruption. I often become disheartened when I listen to the Auditor General when she reports that at times in some of our local government entities, you find huge payments being made without any invoices, without any backup documentation, where money just flows without any form of evidence what that money is for. This is what we need to address, and this is what we need to bring to an end. Local government should have focused approaches to investment by setting up, in my book, investment agencies whose assignment is to promote investment. I think of a country like China, and I'm glad, as Minister Dlamini Zuma said, you're going to have an input from someone from China, because in China, the economic growth that we see that was engendered in China started at the local government level. Yes, it was supported at the national level with a clear plan of where they want China to go to. That they had their own national development plan, which we also have. But it was at the local level where they were able to engender greater and continuous growth, because they focus at the local level on promoting investment, creating that conducive environment for people to come and invest. Many investors will not easily come and invest as they drive into your town, city, or metro. They just see filth all over, where they just see sewage running in the streets. They will not have an appetite to come and invest. They will have an appetite to come and invest when they are attracted, like bees are attracted to a beautiful blooming flower, when they are attracted by a beautiful city, a clean city, a city where everything, the infrastructure works. And working hand in hand with the private sector can ensure continued growth for local government. That is precisely what happened in China as well. They were able to work hand in hand with local private sector, and that way China was then able to engineer the growth. And of course they had the big mega projects that national government embarked on, but it was local government that played a key role as well. And through that, they were able to lift millions of people out of poverty. by constructing a set of underlying conditions that fostered what I would say is an adaptive process where the local players at local government level localized their own solutions, localized those pivoting obviously on the national plan that there is, but created local solutions, promoted investment, set up a number of investment offices where they just sought to crowd in investors. Sometimes one gets dismayed. As I move around the country, sometimes I move around with mayors, and there was a time when I saw a huge economic facility in a particular town. And I asked the mayor, because I didn't know what that was. I said, this is a huge facility. It looks like there's a lot of activity of an economic nature taking place, and I could see lots of people walking around. And I asked the mayor, what products do they make in this facility? The mayor did not know. And I asked, how many people are employed in this facility? The mayor did not know. And I asked, Mayor, have you ever been to this facility to go and talk to the management? The mayor said, no, we were thinking of going. And then I dismayed, because then I asked myself, if the mayor of this area has not really interacted with the operators, the managers, and the owners of this huge facility that employs a number of people, what is the mayor doing? Because that's where the mayor should be, saying, we want to support you to employ more people. What else can we do to make sure that your facility, your business functions well? Because it is this facility that is going to pay huge rates and taxes to the fiscus of the town or the local government. And therefore, it requires that we should focus and have our own localized solutions in dealing with all these things. Within the parameters of a national plan, local government should improvise a variety of solutions to local specific and ever-changing problems and issues at the local level. It is this mixture of local and national plan that lays the foundation for cooperative and interdependent processes that can lead to radical change. Now, if we are able to do that, we will then be able to lift our local areas to a higher level of growth. Municipalities need to focus, and I want to repeat, on promoting economic growth and also focus on the imperative of revenue collection. And municipalities should not just be happy with the 40–50% revenue collection they get. They must always be finding ways and means of increasing the revenue collection. Because in the end, municipalities are run like businesses. You have customers who are your residents or citizens, and you've also got to pay up quite a number of your own expenses, be it salaries and other products and services that you get. So essentially you are running a business, and it is a business that provides services to our people. And we need to ensure that there are sufficient funds that are available to fulfill all the tasks and the expenses that you have to meet. In addition to the jobs that are created and the community development that is engendered, a vibrant local economic activity strengthens the financial position of municipalities. And it makes these municipalities less dependent on grants, although, of course, the equitable grant, as I said, should be looked at. But it is where we are able to build these ideal municipalities, where we are able to ensure that we get rid of instability within government structures and processes as well. Now, the political contestation and infighting that is wreaking havoc in our municipalities must come to an end. We must find a way of saying we want to focus on governance. We want to focus on providing services to our people. And once the structure has been set up, we accept that that is the structure and we move forward with it, and we will fight later, 5 years later, when we once again go to elections. Because if we don't do that, then our infighting has a negative impact on our people. We should once and for all end the hijacking of municipal councils and administrations for self-enrichment and personal gain. Now, I have heard tales, and not fables, tales of how some of our municipal councils have been captured, hijacked to advance the interests of a coterie of a few people. And where, for instance, everything that is done in a municipality is outsourced to just a few entities and companies where they've just captured the whole council. Now, I say this advisedly because this is precisely what you need to look at. Outsourcing is an acceptable process, but where we outsource everything, and having outsourced it, it moves from contractor to contractor to contractor, and we then therefore lose the capability of the municipality being able to do things for itself. And we often find that where everything is outsourced, the municipality still retains the workers who used to do that function that has been outsourced. They sit and do not do any work. They just get paid, and on top of all that, those to whom the service has been outsourced to, they then outsource everything themselves to subcontractors who keep changing. And that is why poor service delivery then ensues. That is where the memory that should be inherent in local government is then lost. So these are matters that we need to focus on. Local government should employ people that are also able to perform the functions that they are responsible for, and should carry them out in an accountable, transparent, efficient, as well as effective and responsive manner. Now, sometimes we find that the people that are employed in our municipalities do not have the necessary skills and capabilities to perform those tasks. And in the end, it leads to the weakening of our government processes. That is where, for instance, when we interface with those who can bring investments, they find that those people that they interface with drop the ball. They are not able to provide the services. They are not even able to create that conducive environment where it matters most. So it is important that we should employ people that we know are skilled and are capable of doing the work. And it is here where the issue of patronage has to be addressed. And this is where the issue of nepotism also has to be addressed. Because quite often, and as one moves around in communities, people often say, Yes, in our local government, people employ their own relatives. People are employed because they are known, not so much because of their skills. Now, in carrying out this mandate, municipalities must receive the requisite support from all spheres of government, be it at national level, at provincial level, but also from state entities as well as state institutions. This is what I'm sure you are yearning for, which you should also get. Now, this conference is taking place as COGTA is undertaking a 21-year review of local government. Now, this review will assist government to learn from the lessons of the past, both in terms of best practice and failures. Now, we've had lots of best practice initiatives. That is what we must highlight. But we've also had failures, and it is these failures that we must turn into good. And it is that good that we must turn into best, so that we continuously have best practice. As we meet to discuss ways to improve governance and administration and solve our service delivery challenges, we must focus on solutions. Earlier, when I was talking to Minister Dlamini Zuma, she was saying the outcomes from this forum she would like to be taken to Cabinet, so that Cabinet must look introspectively at the solutions that you will have come up with. Because all of us who are seated here, we've done the diagnosis. We know, as I said earlier, what the challenges are. We now need to focus on the solutions. So I personally look forward to the solutions that you are going to come up with on some of the issues I have mentioned, but including many of the issues that you have dealt with in your commissions. And after more than 2 decades of democratic local government and nearly 3 decades of constitutional democracy, the focus must be more on outcomes and less on intent. This is where we are now as a country. We need to be focusing on outcomes, but also evaluating performance. On the issues that we prioritize, we need to be asking ourselves, have we performed well? And are there outcomes? And are we able to demonstrate that, yes, indeed, we did focus on the priorities? And if we have not, to be honest enough, to be outright and say we failed, and this is why we failed, and I'm sure there will always be reasons. We must bridge the divide between policy and implementation, between aspiration, and we have many aspirations, and results, by focusing now on what must be done. Let this be an opportunity for all of us tasked with the business of local government to emerge from this conference with tangible actions and achievable aims. And let this be the opportunity also to reaffirm our commitment to do the most important thing, to improve the living conditions of the people of our country through developmental local government. Now, one other important thing that Minister Dlamini Zuma and I whispered to each other about was to say we also now need to focus on how we recognize good performance, how we recognize and applaud best performance, and how we get those who are not performing well to look at those who are performing better and say, how can they emulate them and how can they get to the same level? And we can do that through 2 ways. One is to have an awards ceremony when we hold this forum every year. and where we will come here and say, this is the best performing local government entity in our country for the following reasons. And where they are awarded something of value. And my suggestion was, we need to have an incentive system which she and I will go and propagate to Treasury, that best performing local government entities need to be incentivized, obviously with what you desire most, money. They need to be incentivized with money, so that there must be a grant system that is based on best performance, so that once they have met all the criteria, there should be that level of recognition, incentivization. And I suggested that, and those who have not performed well should not only get nothing, but should also be penalized. She said, no, don't penalize them. She's very kind, as you know. So this is something that we need to possibly start doing. As we hold this forum on an annual basis, which we suggested, bring all of you together so that we can then begin to turn our local government around as we brush shoulders with each other, compare notes, compare experiences, and look at what works best, and highlight, praise, commend those who are doing well, and state the reasons why they are doing well. And I said to the minister, and she said, and President, we would like you to be at that ceremony. So apart from wanting to be a mayor, which I think I'm going to fail in achieving, I will want to be at that ceremony so that we can come and recognize and applaud those who are going to perform well. Colleagues, I wish you well in all your endeavors as you reposition our local government and turn it around so that when the Auditor General reports about our local government, we see a marked improvement. And I sincerely believe that this is possible. It is doable, it is within our hands, and we just need to put our heads together and ensure that our local government work in the interests of our people. I wish you well in all the work that you do. Thank you very much.
All right, those are live visuals there from Boksburg, where President Ramaphosa has just addressed the two-day local government summit. He has spoken against the hijacking of municipal councils or capturing of the councils for self-enrichment. Our reporter Moloko Moloto will share the latest from that summit throughout the day. More news on the other side of this break.